Recording camera, okay. Yep, that's it. Yeah.
Because
Helm
you can always
blank.
edit out.
This is something that's a bitch to make. Half dish helm blank. Very, very raw form. Plenishing fixes everything.
Almost everything.
Almost everything. Blowtorch. Key ingredient to making a helm without making it too weak and fractured. Pliers. You don't want to burn your hands. Eye protection. I don't normally wear it, but it's something that you should have. Large ball peen hammer. Key ingredient to being able to do pretty much anything in steel of any gauge you can fight in. If you want to go with the light stuff, you might be able to get away with some of the other objects like, you know, your hand. But with actual steel and actual metal, you need something that has some heft.
No roofing hammers.
No, they have texture to them. It's really hard to planish that out. Another good one for it all is a good old-fashioned rawhide or high-density resin hammer. They come in multiple sizes. This one's got a good 2-inch head on one side and about a 1 1/2 inch head on the other. Really good for being able to get rid of those big nasty bumps your steel hammers will do, but they're kind of light and you have a lot of work to do to get them to do anything. Now, there are many forms of dishing cops and ways to dish. You can even do this in the dirt in your own backyard if you need to. I advise if you do that, that you put something else down, like a towel that you don't like anymore, or something just to keep the metal from marring from the dirt, but it does work. I myself have several different forms of dish here. This is a very large dish that is actually designed for making helms. It weighs a good 40 pounds. They are made of cast iron. You do not have to go with cast iron. The other good form of this, if you guys want something other than dirt, is to go with a log. I'll later be showing log dishes and how to make them, but at the moment I'm going to be showing you the nice hefty steel ones. What Cody is doing is marking patterns for lamlar. Lamlar is individual scales of metal that you tie together to make a breastplate or any other part of armor you really need. They look something like that after the cut out of the sheet that he's working on. These are pre-cut sheets. They are pre-cut at 3 feet and 2.5 inches in width. They have been sitting in my garage for near a decade, and I've never done what I was supposed to do with them, so now they're being reappropriated to something more fun. Gauntlets. Another fun thing to make with sheet metal is gauntlets. This is a very simple pattern. It's about halfway done. I may or may not do a video on these. I've made about 1,000 pairs, so most of the time I'm sick of making them. But if people like them, I'll make a pair.
There's some spolders over there.
Yes, ancient armor. Yeah, throughout this you'll find ancient armor. Only been doing this for what, about a decade now.
Yeah.
There's a grinder back there. You may or may not be able to see it. It's that thing. It's not really useful. The other side behind me is all meant for working glass, so kind of in a small space. So I'm going to go back to making loud banging noises with a blowtorch and hammer. Spunk. Worthwhile.
It's better than a butane lighter.
They blow up.
Well, if you're not careful.
When you're doing a helm, you want to heat up each individual area slowly. You do not want to do this at a quick rate because you'll crack it in its own way. A bucket of water is a good idea. Mine's directly below me, so there's no way you're going to see it. I am actually heating up the center of the helm so I can stretch it at the moment, because at the moment I am starting to have a bit of a frustration with it. So if you can't get it to move, add heat. If that doesn't work, get a bigger hammer. For all of you out there, that is the key rule of armor. If it doesn't work, get a bigger hammer. But that doesn't mean start with a 5-pound ball peen trying to make a set of gauntlets.
I've done it. Doesn't work.
It doesn't work out well. You can shape gauntlets over a 5-pound ball peen, which I will later show you guys what raising is. But today, I'm dishing. And I will get plenty of crap for this because you're not supposed to dish helms, but for all those guys out there that say that, I've cold forged these things and they're still being fought with to today. So I'm sorry. You can cold forge a helm all you want. It's just a real pain. It usually takes about 10 hours if you want to do it that way. This way it'll take me about 6. So I will not be bringing this up to red hot because that's just stupid. You're going to thin out your metal and nothing's going to come of it. You just need to heat up the carbon in the metal, and you need to increase the iron content in the sense of its malleability. So I'm pretty much trying to expand crystals here. So yep, that's what's going on. Now my metal's hot, and here comes some loud obnoxious noise. Pliers. Do not grab hot metal. Around what? File? Oh, as we're at files, here, this is a fat collection of files. They range in all different shapes and sizes. That is pretty much the key thing that you have when you clean your shit up, because a grinder will never do it good enough, and sometimes your belt sander stops working, like mine. All there? Should be in there. Cody's phone just farted. When you're working with wood and doing this with a blowtorch, be forewarned, your dish does get bigger as you go, so you have to keep in mind that your log will get destroyed much quicker if you're going to use heat with it. If you're going to cold forge, you're a much better deal with logs, and yeah, that's pretty much the simplest thing you can do with it. Don't put heat on your logs. It doesn't work well. Works well to make them, doesn't work well to fix them up and to work with your armor. And to captivate what portions of this all is, this is part 1 and 2 of the Byzantine kit that I'm going to be building, or Varangian Guard. So either one, they both actually look the same during different time periods. I'm doing 10th century Varangian Guard, or I'm doing 13th century Byzantine, due to the fact that their empire had pretty much fallen apart by then. Cody's using an interesting technique in order to grab a hold of something. We here usually use leather, and that's what he's doing. He doesn't want to mar up the surface of a lighter metal piece, and what he's trying to fix up are these. Hammers. I have no idea where my camera angle is. So, hammers. We cast these out of pewter right now. This is a starter mold, and the ending looks much better than that, but I don't have a cleaned up one right now to show you. But that's what they're doing, and that's what he's doing. But he's grabbing it with a piece of leather so that in order to grab it with the vise, it doesn't leave any marred marks on your metal. Key thing for when you're working with it, especially if you've already finished a part and realize that there's some snares. More copying dishes. And another copying dish. And another copying dish. I'll show the ball stakes later.
And also, if your apprentice is pissing you off, another copying disc.
Or if you just need something to be able to bend a piece of metal around that needs to be an ergonomic shape to a human being, apprentices do a really good job of standing still if you make them. This one's been doing it for about a decade, so he's kind of used to it, but even then, sometimes he'll complain. Oh, and hot metal is hot. I also don't advise using your plastic or your resin tools, your rawhide tools, with heat either. They also do funny things. Rawhide smells really bad, and plastic just fucks up.
Sometimes you just have to stare at your piece of armor. It's a battle of wits.
In reality, I'm looking for the edges that are not quite curved far enough yet, and that I don't want to move other parts. But yes, it's a battle of wits. Piece of metal is a living thing, and they don't like to listen. Another foundation of armor. There is no such thing as a piece of armor that is straight. Straight lines in armor do not get along. Noting they're weak and they bend out of place. So if you find something that's straight plated, it's probably not correct. And yes, that even goes for you Romans out there that are making Lorica segmentatas. They're supposed to be slightly bowed so they have better flexion. Fought in one for 4 years before stopping that, but I do know for a fact that if they're not slightly bowed, all you get is armor bites.
Yep.
Oh, and everything that's made in here to today is all meant for fighting. It is not meant for the cons and shows and fun things like that. No, this stuff is meant to be applied with sticks and shields and smashing into each other. This is meant for a game. This is not meant to be throwing styrofoam at each other and hitting each other with foam. If you want to do that, I'll probably do some videos for that later, but as of today, we have never once made a piece that was for a fantasy-based thing in here. I have done leather work for fantasy and cons in the past, but not in here. Apprentice is also a battle of wits. In order to keep one, you have to be willing to throw things at them, but at the moment, he hasn't pissed me off, so.
Yeah.
He stated it, not me. Okay, I need the ankle back. And yes, I'm about to take a banana.
Well, it's only, what, a 50-pounder? 60?
55. Crappy. The horn is flat. Horns are not supposed to be flat, they're supposed to be round. My dad's equipment. Well, that means you said it you are. I'm putting a lip on the edge of this helm because I have added an extra 2 centimeters of distance to the edge so I can peen it off so that when I go to form the two halves together, I have a nice lip to be able to clamp together before I can set the edge. This is going to be all done without a welder, so for all of you who don't own a welder, which is probably the majority of you, you can learn how to make a helmet. For those of you with working welders, go for it, tack weld the thing together. It's much easier, the process works the exact same way, and you can still put the strips on and everything like that, but you get a much easier brace than having to use vice grips or something of that sort to keep it closed. Still need to do this to it though. Need to give this edge to it, because if you do not put an edge on it, you will start warping the shape fairly quickly, so you want to just do that now compared to once you have your dome shaped exactly how you want it, and then you realize you have to put this 2 centimeter lip up under the edge so you have something to grab a hold of. That is a real bitch to work around, and you'll lose your shape again, and you'll never get it quite back to what you want, so you might as well start the whole process so you're happy at the end in the beginning. My hammerhead fell off. It's in there. See what I said about this hammer?
Yeah.
I don't like it. Piece of shit. Auto body hammer from the 80s. Never throw your hammers away. They can always be used for something else later, including making knives. See if you can see it, but there's a little red line in there. A little red line that's right along this edge here. I have not bent it all the way to that line, but that is my maximum point, and I will be grinding down to that line when the two pieces meet. Right now it looks like a really big spalder, which is a shoulder piece. But I don't know if it even looked that big on the one. Nope, it doesn't really look that big. It just looks like something that came out of a video game.
Yeah, kind of. I'm gonna have a shit ton of fun editing this.
Fucking exactly. If you think I want to do this, I might just send it all to you.
Oh, lovely.
Well, I got fucking kids to take care of. You got you to take care of. So that's good. Now you can do an internet video. This is not a vine. I'm trying to do fucking stupid shit all day.
apprentices when you don't want to do the shit yourself.
Yeah. Yes. It's the beauty of having them. Also, for when you're someone like me, that picking up a 5 foot by 4 foot piece of sheet metal will destroy your spine, they're also good to have around. Except for mine's gimped out too. I've got a bad back. He's got bad knees. All in all, okay, that's good enough to get back to dishing. But you'll see, it's pretty much down to that red line all the way around. Or you won't see because the camera's not picking it up. Maybe I can edit it. Tiring job would be a lie. This is an exhausting job. By the time you're done, your arms hurt, your hands hurt, your head hurts, your knees hurt.
Your ears.
I do know it's part of your head. But it's probably right. But at the end of this, I will heat the entire outside surface to reconnect all of the carbon crystals together again, because they're going to have spread back out due to the time of me pounding on them. They'll spread, and then to heat them up, I'll put them back together. I may or may not quench them, mattering to how it goes. And what I mean by when they're done is when I have this piece shaped and the other piece shaped, and they both match together, then I will heat both shapes and then quench them and then put them together. Edge still exists. Now from this angle you can see it a little better. Now it's pronounced fairly well. It's starting to look like it just belongs in a Roman museum. Yeah. They don't match because a human head doesn't match. The points are at different spaces. It looks like this on your head. Looks like that on your head. It's almost done.